So why are you guys here today? What is the goal of a rally for?
Standing our ground.
Trayvon Martin needs justice.
So talk a little bit about.
He deserves justice.
Okay, so talk a little bit about what is the goal of a rally like this and the rallies that are going to be going on across the country
so the
today.
law in Florida,
The stand your ground law.
yeah, should be modified.
Okay, so
I'm here because I care about justice in America, and I feel that the verdict was an injustice.
you feel the verdict was an injustice.
Yes, that he was guilty of at least manslaughter.
Okay, what is the purpose of a rally for Trayvon?
I think the purpose of the rally for Trayvon is to show unity between a group of people. I think it should be more diverse, saying that not just a young black man was killed, but that a young person was killed.
Right.
Not just that he was killed by someone non-black, but that he was murdered before he even had a chance to live. So I think that's more important than just saying that a young black man was killed.
So this is more about violence against young people than it is about
It's more about violence.
racial divides.
It wouldn't have made a difference for me if he was 90 years old
Okay.
and he died.
Okay.
It's still not right to take someone's life.
And it's very unfortunate that we have a system of government and justice that says it's okay through stand your ground. Hopefully, being out here today will help to move the governor in Florida so he can change that law as well as the other states that have stand your ground so that we can stop killing our black youth.
Zimmerman's defense team did not invoke, they chose not to file a petition on Stand Your Ground for the case to be dismissed. So even though Stand Your Ground had nothing to do with the legal proceeding, do you think it's still...
It's in the context. I mean, the people in Florida know about the stand your ground law.
Okay.
You know, they passed it.
But Zimmerman's team clearly thought that he didn't have a chance to invoke Stand Your Ground. They knew that it wouldn't be a good defense.
Well, maybe that's the only reason they didn't do it was because they figured it was just a clear case of self-defense, and that's what they focused on.
Well, they changed. They had to change the defense to self-defense because he would have not been exonerated if he was standing your ground.
Right. Stand Your Ground.
So it was a lot of maneuvering on their part to make sure he got the best result.
So you think Stand Your Ground has really nothing to do with the case, or do you think it's still relevant?
Well, you're talking about Florida, where they have those laws down there,
Right.
and one can carry a concealed weapon,
Right.
and there's no tier system of who can carry. Well, here in New York, there's 5 different tiers for who can carry a weapon.
Okay.
And most people, either law enforcement or retired, they have concealed weapons. The average citizen running around with a concealed weapon is not always a
It was not invoked by Zimmerman's defense team. Do you guys still think it had an impact on the case?
Not at all. No, I don't think
Did
so.
not have an impact on the
No,
case.
because it wasn't brought up as part of his defense.
Okay.
Now, in truth, if anyone would have had the right to stand their ground, it would have been Trayvon Martin.
Would have been Martin. Okay.
But
So
how can he invoke a stand your ground law when he's dead?
right. Okay. So some people here today have said that their purpose, that what they want to see, is a repeal or a modification of Florida's self-defense law and other laws like it. So you sound like you guys may have a cordial disagreement on this issue. You think Stand Your Ground did play a part in the case. You're saying it did not.
There should be some modification with the stand your ground law, and not just the way it's written in the Florida state.
Okay.
This way, when it comes into play, they can really identify who's really defending themselves, right?
Do you think it still had an impact on the case?
Yes, it did, because it was discussed in the jury room.
Even though Zimmerman didn't enter it as a defense?
Yes, it was a part of the discussion in the jury room, and that's where they came up with that decision, because they said he was the aggressor, and he was not.
Should Stand Your Ground be repealed, or should it be modified, or how would you change the law? Okay.
Modified. It
Okay.
makes sense to be sitting in your living room and if someone is at your door with a barricade or a gun. Yes, of course, stand your ground.
Okay.
But for me to not
be on the
like
street.
the fact that I can't see her eyes behind those
Yes, the
sunglasses,
glasses,
or maybe I think
because
this
you
is
don't
some
like-
sort of a, dangerous, cultish thing that I just, let me just shoot her, and I don't have her as a witness, so I can just say, well, you know what, she was scaring me, and I was afraid, and my word stays, and she's gone. How very convenient.
Okay.
It's
Or
a
absent.
redneck law. This is not Tombstone, Arizona. This is 2013 civilized America. Europeans are looking at us and are dumbfounded at the backwardness
Let me
of this
ask you-
country.
What about the problem of young black men killing other young black men?
It's a huge problem. And okay, let's be honest. How in the world can someone that is non-black value a black life if blacks don't even value black life? That's an issue. It's an old issue. I don't even know if you have enough tape on your camera to do it. It's an old issue, and until people's mindsets are changed, that every life is valuable, we're going to always have issues like this. We're going to always.
The president recognized this yesterday. You know, in his speech, he made reference to the fact that this is a crisis within the African American community. So is this, you know, are you guys going to make some effort to? Do you hope that this protest movement will help change that?
I hope it will help to change it, and I hope our voices will be heard.
And people like you who go to things like that are sickening as the rest of those bastards down in Florida.
I'm sickening?
Yeah, you're sickening when you raise questions like that.
I want you to take a picture of this.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go off video and then I'll take a picture. Hold on just a sec.
Racism emerges with your question.
I'm not trying to ask racist questions, sir. I'm just trying to give you an opportunity to speak your position. Well, these are the questions that people are raising. I want you guys to have an opportunity to put forward your position.
Raise those questions. They have always raised. That's why Europeans are ashamed of America.
President Obama's speech yesterday, he expressed a lot of sympathy for the Martins. He said this is very, very personal for him, but he also seemed to suggest, he told people, you know, we need to have reasonable expectations. He seemed to be managing expectations and suggesting that the Justice Department is probably not going to pursue hate crimes charges against Zimmerman.
Okay, let me say this, okay? Just like we could not depend on the justice system to get a positive verdict.
Okay.
Okay. We can't depend on government to do this.
So if the department...
This is dependent on me and you, brother. Me and you are citizens of the United States. It is us that is going to move the people in the Justice Department that have to move out. So, if we got to move them out, we vote out the persons who appointed those people.
Is that what is next? If justice doesn't pursue charges, then next thing is to take it to the polls?
Exactly.
You got to think if Zimmerman is a member of KKK.
Are dead too. Each one of these people here are dead.
Sir, you're saying you want to check and see if George Zimmerman is a member of the...
What organizations do he belong
to? What
fraternity organization? John Birch Society.
So you're asking if he's a John Bircher or a member of the Ku Klux Klan?
You don't know.
What organization? Fraternal organization affiliation. That's a good thing.
We're not saying all Caucasians are evil people. We got to do surgical strikes on those folk who are against us being together as a people.
How would you define a surgical strike?
Find out who the bastards are and remove them up out of here. By any means necessary.
By any means necessary?
The Koch brothers was the one that financed his legal defense.
If the Justice Department doesn't file hate crimes charges against Zimmerman, where does the Justice for Trayvon movement go from here? What is the logical next step?
Keep fighting.
Keep fighting.
He didn't die in vain, believe me. You can tell that he had a kindred spirit. Why do you think we're all here?